Welcome everyone to the B&T Sports Talk Show. I'm your boy T, and with me is none other than B. B, how you doing?
I'm good, man. Happy Sunday to everybody,
Happy
man.
Sunday.
It's how hot is it up where you're at? I know you're dealing with some hot weather.
100.
How is it?
100. It is 100 degrees out here. I'm up in the Sacramento area, so it's been hot. We got one
Damn.
week of 90s where we were 80s, 90s we were excited about, and then it popped back up to 100. So back in that 3-digit heat, man. Well, folks, thanks for joining us. If this is your first time listening to us, check out some of our other videos and our other content. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We appreciate it. Hit the like button on the video and hit the notification button too. So we're excited to be with y'all this Sunday evening. We're going to be talking about Team USA basketball.
USA.
We'll talk about some of the other Olympics. I don't want to, some of the other Olympic highlights these last few days. And we're going to jump into the NFC North of all divisions in the NFL as we continue through our predictions for the NFL as the season is quickly approaching. I think we got about 4 more weeks and football is here. So man, time is moving real fast. So, oh man, well, B, did you catch any of, or have you actually sat down and watched any of the Olympic Games or just basketball? What you been looking at?
I've been getting caught up here. Track and field is in full effect right now, so I'm loving it. You're watching the fastest athletes in the world run for about less than 10 seconds and call it a day right after that.
That's over. Yeah.
Like, can you imagine training for 4 years just to run for less than 10 seconds?
That's right.
And then call it quits after that.
It's over.
You know what I'm saying? Like the amount of pressure that's on there and how quiet that stadium gets before they take off it's pretty thunderous to say the least. So I've been catching up on that. I've been watching women's rugby because that's been freaking exciting to say the least. I've been watching some oddball stuff. Like I was watching shooting. The Olympic sports that we have nowadays is very weird.
The airsoft or the rifle?
The airsoft one, because Lord knows we want them shooting 9mm at the Olympic Games, to say the least. So you know what I'm saying? So the airsoft one, they were wearing like these special, they look like Google glasses, it was like helping to keep the vision accurate or whatnot. And so I thought that was interesting. But yeah, I've been tuning into the Olympics, man. What's been on your radar so far?
Oh man, like you said, track and field is in full effect. I've been watching some of the swimming. So we've had the USA women's team take home a couple of golds in swimming. The men's, they had, I think, 1. So it's been, so swimming. I did check out the rugby after you mentioned it, man, just because you were watching it while we were on our last show or after, I think, or it was either after or before. And the way you were talking about what was happening, I had to check this out, and I was not disappointed. There were some very strong women, I'll just put it that way. And there were situations where some people just were not equipped to tackle them, and it was not nice. I mean, this one girl, she got stiff-armed into the ground. And one girl just pow, stiff-arm right to the face and just kept running. It was crazy, man. It was very, very, rugby is a physical game, but it was just interesting to see these teams play against each other. Women's USA, I think, got the bronze, so they came out with 3rd place, but nobody is beating New Zealand. And if you don't know the demographic of New Zealand, then go look it up. You'll figure out exactly why you're not beating a full team of Pacific Islanders in rugby. It's just not gonna happen.
Nah, but let's talk about Team USA basketball. They ended the qualifying rounds 3-0.
Yep.
What is what we expected here.
Yeah, it's not really.
They played Puerto Rico to end pool play, to say the least, and did what they were supposed to do. Joel Embiid sat that game, which is, again, you got to find ways to get guys into the lineup here, especially with the stars that they have on their team. He really wasn't needed there. You got to consider it like a break. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're not gonna be able to start everybody every single time. So it's not bad. We all know Joel Embiid can get hurt, real quickly. So he should probably be thanking Steve Kerr in regards to that there. But they get Brazil coming up on August 6th at 12:30 here. And I'm looking at this here. Again, there's Guy Santos, a Warrior player, Marcelo Huertas, Honestly, I can't name one single professional player
I,
on on Brazil.
I mean, I don't see it, bro. It's not gonna happen. I mean, come on
No.
now. I mean, we watched the game against Puerto Rico was basically Jose Alvarez, who plays for the Pelicans, against the entire USA squad. I mean, they have some other players, I guess, that played all right, but after Puerto Rico went on a 3-point shooting barrage, I think it was in the beginning of the second quarter or wherever we were. USA pretty much took it over from there. They brought
Yeah.
KD in the game, and he was unstoppable. Steph Curry actually hit a couple of shots, nothing crazy, but they were up by 20. It was pretty. It was after the half. It's pretty smooth win most of the way through. I don't see them having any problems. I mean, Germany is the other team that's played pretty well. I don't know who I honestly, and keep in mind I've only watched who the USA has played. South Sudan obviously gave them a little bit of a run for their money and is pretty darn. They have a pretty good core of NBA or former NBA players on their team. They actually got Luol Deng on the bench as well as one of their assistant coaches. So
Coaches, yeah.
yeah, so I love they were pretty good, but other than that, I'm not seeing too much out there, man. I mean, France maybe France.
I don't know. They get Canada in their quarterfinal game, so that'd
Yeah, that's
be
tough. Yeah,
the U.S. have a quick way to the finals. I mean, it's Brazil. They have, I think that's Australia or Serbia,
yeah,
and they manhandle Serbia real easily here. So, and then on the other side, you've got Germany. It looks like the Greece national
Greece.
team. So
Yeah,
Giannis,
just Giannis
and then
and his brother.
yeah, no, his brother's on the bench. He's dude. His brother's even in it.
His brother doesn't even start.
His brother don't even start on the national team to say the least. And so
Man.
the fact that the Bucks even keep him around is really, he's got, as Charles Barkley would say, with Giannis's brother, he's got the best job security in the world.
You got that
Because
right.
as long as Giannis Antetokounmpo is playing for the Milwaukee Bucks,
He's got
his
a
brother
job.
will also be playing with the Milwaukee Bucks as well.
That's right.
So I think the U.S. is going to find a cool breeze into the finals here. It's who they're going to play. I honestly, it would be the host nation. It's got to be the host nation.
It's got to be France. You're right. Yeah.
To do it. I just don't think Team Canada has a whole lot. A lot of shooting guards and a lot of point guards, but no one really in the
No
paint
bigs.
there.
None.
No bigs at all.
No.
I think it'd be Greece and France to go to the finals in the men's game, and then the U.S. men's team is they're gonna win it, but it's about who they play to say. So I hope we get at least an exciting game in the finals for who Team USA is gonna play.
Maybe.
If it's France, it's gonna put it help put Wemby on the map even more. If he beats Team USA, that'd be a big shocker if he's able to pull something off there.
Yeah, I think you're gonna have Team USA make it through. They'll play the winner of Serbia and Australia. It looks like Serbia is dog water. I mean, they're not very good. They got beat by US earlier. Australia has some players. I think they have a couple players in the NBA. I think isn't Joe Ingles on that
There's
team?
Ingles. I think Patty Mills is
Patty
still
Mills.
for,
That's right,
for
Patty
Australia,
Mills. But that's it.
Yeah, there's not much to go after that there.
Germany, though, actually has some pretty good players. Not just Dennis Schroeder, but the kid from the Magic. Why can't I call his name? Yes, Franz Wagner.
Yeah.
Franz Wagner is actually really
good. His brother too also plays, but his brother is a good baller. Unlike Thanos Antetokounmpo, I call him Thanos. My bad.
Thanos. That is a great nickname for Giannis. It's too late now. I'm talking about Giannis, but it's too late. Thanos Antetokounmpo. Yeah, if he was good. And yeah, so I don't see it, man. I think USA breezes through to the final. I think Germany takes Greece. I think Germany moves on and plays France. And I'm going to agree with you. I think France can beat Germany and make it to the final. Although Germany, like I said, has some pretty good shooters on their team. And they can play. They're pretty good. But those two Twin Towers with France, they're going to be tough to beat. There aren't any other teams that have length outside of the United States. We're the only guys that have 7-footers, I think, that can go at Wemby and Rudy Gobert. So,
yeah. And if you're watching this, you probably aren't, but if you are, you need to bench Steph Curry. He is not having a good Olympics so far, man. Like, if you're gonna bench players, that was the guy to bench in that third game here. He started every game, which is great. But he really isn't doing anything like we're accustomed to. We're expecting Steph Curry to have one of those shooting games in the Olympics here. For God's sakes, the 3-point line is 2 feet closer to the basket.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? The guy doesn't they need to stretch it further for him, but instead in international rules, it's closer. So he should, in theory, he should be lighting it up for Team USA, but he's not.
No.
So, I mean, hopefully we get that in this quarterfinal game. We get a Steph Curry-like game. But, man, just watch it. Did you see LeBron throw the headband on? He went old school, put that big-ass headband on his head.
I mean, the hair plugs might be faltering. You know, it might be one of those situations where the shoe polish ran out. You know what I mean? And he's got to have the headband on to kind of, because that's happened before. I mean, I don't know if you remember last time. I remember he wore that headband, and I remember him going to like taking it off, and it looked like his hairline had got pushed up like an additional inch. So there's something going on there that is not permanent, we'll say, with the hairline of LeBron James. So maybe the headband was there because his hair stylist or apparatus did make it to Paris. So I don't know, man.
Here's the worst part, LeBron. If we're catching it, you're not fooling the rest of the world. Right, so you're not fooling nobody with that hairstyle, my brother. So
yeah, it's known. It's known.
And then the women, man, the U.S. women basketball team. I mean,
they're killing them. Yeah.
Like, good God, did you see them line up against Japan when it came to basketball? Like,
yeah, that was bad, dude.
Brittany Griner was just she wasn't even jumping. She was just grabbing the rebound flat-footed, you know, while watching Team Japan try to jump and grab the ball from her. No one stands a chance against this USA women's basketball team, and that we're not taking anything away from them. They're that good.
They're that much better. Yeah.
But the women's game internationally just isn't as strong as the men's game internationally. So, you know, they're gonna have a leg up for years and years to come. I think they've won like 58 straight Olympic games as a women's basketball team. That's absurd. And you only play 6. You only play 6 games in the Olympics as a basketball team. So this has been going on for too long.
Yeah,
it's been going on for too long, man.
It's a wrap, you know, but it's one of those things where, you know, it's not their fault. Like we said, it's just the fact that the rest of the world is not caught up yet. And yeah, I did watch a little bit of that game, but it was kind of hard to watch. I mean, yeah, those girls were about a foot shorter than everybody almost, and they did not have a player big enough to stay with Brittany Griner or any big that the USA could throw out there. But I'm pretty sure that we got both our basketball teams, men's and women's, heading towards goal at this point.
Did you see the 3-on-3?
I didn't watch that, man. I mean,
I didn't. First of all, I didn't know that was existing.
I didn't. I saw it, and I'm like, who are these people?
The only person I knew on Team USA was Jimmer Fredette, because he was a college stud and then became an NBA dud. Trying to get into the league. But man, we suck at 3-on-3.
I watched 30 seconds of it. It was. I'm not trying to be rude. It was all white dudes, and then one guy missed a layup, and I was like, I don't know who these guys are. They look like they could be some, you know, fairly athletic guys at the YMCA playing against each other. This all seems very, you know, 40 plus. You know what I mean?
I hope they get rid of the 3-on-3, dude. This is terrible.
It's not worth. It's not worth watching, especially when you have other basketball to watch. It doesn't make sense to have the basketball, you know, the full team sport, and then have this weird 3-on-3 tournament. You're right, they should get rid of that. Maybe like you said, maybe it's time to bring softball back in placement of 3v3, because I ain't watching that garbage. I don't even know who these guys are. You know, just, you know, no.
Nah.
No thanks.
Let's talk about the next one. That is the GOAT. I don't want to talk about Noah Lyles yet because I'm still a little heated over him.
All right.
Simone Biles is just cementing her name as one of the greatest Olympians to ever grace our presence. We had Michael Phelps, but now we have Simone Biles. So, you know, obviously Team USA won the all-around gold medals. She won gold in vault.
Yep.
You know, your take on Simone Biles, man. Like,
oh yeah, man. Yeah, man, she's I mean, you first off you have to sit down and watch it just to kind of get a feel for what the sport is about and why people even give a crap. But if you look and see some of the things that she can do, the flipping, the extra flips and turns and stuff that happens in the air whenever she's there, you can tell by watching her and watching the other women that she's a step or two beyond that, and she's that much better. And man, the fact that she went through so much crap after the 2020 Tokyo Olympics, if you don't recall, she quit the team because she had a mental breakdown, was doing some routines, and just kind of got lost, was afraid of hurting herself or being detrimental to her team, and decided she would retire or quit, basically, and no longer perform. So she got a lot of flack for that. Lot of flack. There were a lot of overweight white men that were in the room and wanted to tell her how she shouldn't quit. That's un-American. There was a lot of crap that she took. So to see her come all the way from that, come back and be at the top of the sport at 27 years old, no less, because there aren't that many gymnasts competing at that age, or there aren't that many Olympic athletes at all that compete at that age. So for her to do that and still be at the top of her game, yeah, man, she's way better than the rest. And again, folks, you got to watch it. Don't take my word for it. Maybe you're saying, Tashma, why the hell would I watch gymnastics? Just watch it. Just give it a try. They're running full speed into a bungee board and a sitting horse donkey apparatus thing. And then they just go flying up in the air. Who knows what happens after that? They control their bodies and land on their feet. I don't know about you, but if you were to shoot me out of a roller coaster, just the first part of the roller coaster, I'm not landing on my feet, and that's literally what they're doing. They're doing Mario stuff, like when you were playing Super Mario, and you just hit the little bound, you just go flying in the air, and so to have that amount of body control, flexibility, and then you get scored on it and still land on your feet, it is amazing. So you got to take a look, give it a chance, is all I'm saying. But yeah, she's one of the greatest. She will after this, because she still has, I think, one or two more events where she can still win more gold medals. She will be the most decorated gymnast in the history of the Olympics. So we'll see.
Yeah, and like you said, the way she approaches the competition to the rest of them, dude, there was a shot where I think when she did the vault, and then you see the women that have to go right after her. Like, you gotta follow Simone Biles here. Yeah. It's almost like watching Serena Williams play tennis. So really, so that's how you have to look at Simone Biles when it comes to that. That's how well she prepares herself. In 2020, she had the weight of the entire United States on her shoulders as a Team USA rep, and she cracked underneath that. That's a lot of pressure for someone who's 24 or 23 years old to have to wear. And she just, it weighed on her. And there was also, talks of her mental health. But that's all stuff that we, as normal people, go through.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's just kind of spotlight because she is the face of USA Gymnastics. So to overcome that, to win gold medal, to absolutely dominate in every aspect a gymnast has, you have to talk about it as the greatest here. For a while, Team USA has such a rivalry with Team China when it came to gymnastics in previous Olympic games here. But now it's not even a question. Russia. But it's not even a question at this point that the U.S. is far and beyond great, And so watching her compete, it's well worth the entertainment. You don't have to be into gymnastics, but just watch what she does next to a fellow gymnastic. It's not even night and day with the competition level there. She's that much better than everyone on the field. And so hopefully we get to see her on united ground in the Olympics in 4 more years to say this is that's her swan song.
Yeah.
That'd be it for her.
Yeah, absolutely. And we got 49er UCLA Wolverine. That's a combination there in the chat. Wolverine as in Michigan Wolverine?
Say Wolverine, not Wolverine Deadpool status.
All right. Chiming in with, first, thanks for joining us, 49er. I guess I could call you 49er. I want to play on Team USA 3-on-3. I'm with you. B, let's do it. I mean, if
man,
we
look. First of all, dude, I just turned 38. My knees, all of that. There, I'm not even good for one game. I'm not even good to sub in, to say the least. So y'all can go out there and play this little 3-on-3 game that they're having. Me personally, I'll coach.
the only thing, hey, look,
It.
only thing holding me back is that it's in 4 years. It means I'm 4 years older.
Exactly, man. I bet you if we went out to the basketball, like to go play some pickup 3-on-3, you and I be winded within about 10 minutes. My knees be shaking, my body be over it. I'll be walking off the course saying, you know what, you guys do the rest of this. I don't think I own basketball shoes anymore to be playing 3-on-3, to be honest with you.
I get out there now and again, but I ain't nothing to write home about. And then we got the 49er again with I'm going to try out for the men's gymnastics. No.
Hey, shout out to the men's gymnastic team who medaled for the first time, and I think it's been a very long time.
Yeah.
It was just a bronze medal, but man, that's something that we do not really care about so much.
Not as much, no.
Not saying us as the people trying out for it, but just as fans, it's not something that we were really pushing for. But the fact that they were able to break through and get a medal is very exciting for that gymnastics team. So kudos to them for doing that there.
Yeah, and your favorite sport, soccer, the women's soccer team is actually going to have an opportunity to go for it after.
Oh, come on, man. They should be blowing them out of the water, man. Come on.
The men's team also will.
Men's team sucks.
But they're going to make it to. They got out of group play, okay? So
they didn't.
I thought they did.
I don't think they did. Let me double check that. Now.
Yeah, they did. They did. Okay, so it was France got 1, they got 2. They were in Group A, so they're not gonna win anything. Okay, but they will at least get an opportunity to play in the quarterfinals. Right? They get a chance.
Here come the participation trophies. Hey, we need to make it worth your time. Why don't you guys play a little consolation game against the host nation? I mean, no. We're good.
Well, never mind.
Yeah. And then women's rugby. Women's rugby got a bronze.
Got a bronze on the last play. Yeah, that was great.
That's like watching a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Basically,
for people who don't know what rugby compared to football is that was a kickoff return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
That she scored on to give Team USA a bronze. Now, team what was it? New Zealand. Was it? Yeah, okay. Look,
I think they've won. How many? They pretty much win every time. I don't know. I have to look it up, but they also won the previous Olympics too. So
pretty much, man. So again, not a sport that Team USA really thrives on, but for them to place a medal in a sport that's not all that popular here, very, very good. That's kudos to them in regards to that. The women's relay swimming team, Katie Ledecky. Oh man, that was. Did you see Katie Ledecky's individual race?
Yeah. That was the 1500. So she ran the 1500 meters, which is the longer of all the races, and pretty much it was just her by herself by the time she got to the last 2 or 3 laps. And she's that good when it comes long distance. She's not necessarily the strong of a swimmer in short range, but long distance, she can't be beat. She can't be beat. So she killed her.
Yeah, man. Shout out to Katie Ledecky's one of those Olympians that is very, very,
very decorated. Yeah, absolutely.
Since she was 18, when she first started college, shout out to Stanford University, where she went. She started there, and she could have she lived a life off of those Olympics. At 18, she dominated the field, and she's been doing it ever since here. So. Another one of those great Olympians who are just continuously dominating in every aspect there.
And you talked about making a living. Let's talk about, and you actually looked this info up about how much I get a gold medal. I'm on the U.S. team. What do I get, B? Mm-hmm. What do I get?
You get a participation check of $38,000.
Dang. I
know, right? Let me put it to you like this. Now, I'm just going to throw the numbers out there. I don't know what they're basing it off of here. Note all figures are converted to U.S. dollars and rounded up to the nearest 10,000 and 1,000 where appropriate. If you were competing for China, right?
Yeah.
That's how much you're making with a gold medal. Just take a guess.
How much? China. Go
This
ahead.
is this is in U.S. currency. You ready?
Yeah.
$768,000.
Man, no wonder they got so many athletes in all these different
If you
sports.
if you get silver, 384,000, bronze,
Dang.
192,000.
Dang.
So you could
You
suck and
getting
still make some
paid.
good money. You getting
Yeah,
paid
yeah.
if you. The lowest country is Australia. If you get a gold with Team Australia, that's $13,000.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say a Happy Meal or
Man, when you look
a
at
trip
it
to
and all the
Disneyland.
training that you do, it is basically a Happy Meal. Silver is $10,000, and then if you're bronze, you get $7,000. So that's terrible, man. All that training you go through and everything you put through to take home a check worth of 13,000 US dollars if you were Team Australia was that doesn't sound too good.
Well, I mean,
Um,
I guess the idea is for the U.S. Let's say all your money's got to be made on sponsorships. That's just the only way you're gonna get paid, really, and how most athletes get paid. Because 35K. I don't know. I mean, you get a trip to Paris, but 35K for winning a gold medal. I mean, that's cool and all. I guess the question I should ask is that each medal. If I'm an athlete that won 2 or 3 medals, do I get 35K
it's each medal.
each?
It's each
Oh,
medal.
I see. Got it.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, that doesn't happen very often, to be honest. But at
Unless
least,
you're Michael Phelps.
yeah, right.
Michael Phelps,
Simone Biles. Yeah. She's like, well, I got 5 of them, so go ahead and cash me out real quick.
So to round out the rest of the United States numbers, so 38,000 for gold, 23,000 for silver, and 15,000 for bronze. So, I mean,
Dude.
look, a paycheck is a paycheck, but in all honesty, if you take away the professional athletes that are in like Team USA basketball, they're automatically moved. Everybody on that roster is averaging about $15 million a year. So we won't talk about what this
They
gold
don't
medal
care,
does.
man. Yeah, they're just
But when
there.
you look at the amateur athletes like a Simone Biles, like a Katie Ledecky, or any other athlete that's on Team USA that's not a professional, this money that you're making and the time and dedication that you are putting to it for every 4 years, it doesn't really add up at the end of it. You know what I'm saying? Like you can spend 4 years spending all that money on your food, on your training, using the Olympic Team USA facility, only to get a bronze medal and take home $15,000. Does that equivalent all the money that you spend in those 4 years to get to the Olympics? Does that equivalent?
Yeah, man. It doesn't sound like it. And like I said, man, the one thing we have to consider is that a lot of these athletes also compete year round too. So there are certain, world championships or state championships or, U.S. championships that they also do to try to earn a little money. But at the end of the day, man, I would think it's almost like putting a bounty out. And I think that's like what China's doing, right? They're putting a bounty out. They're saying any Chinese athlete that can go win one for our country is going to get paid. So go out there and go get it. And so, for American, maybe I guess we feel like we've got so much money floating around, we don't have to do that. But, I don't know why they don't. I mean, if I was running that thing in the United States and China's making more than us, I don't want to do that. I'm going to be like, look, no, I'm putting a meal. I mean, because if a guy wins the PGA Tour, doesn't he it's like a couple of $1 million these days, right?
Yeah.
I mean, are you kidding me? The amount of publicity that the Olympics brings, you couldn't slap a meal on a gold medal? I think that's being a little cheap, man.
Can you imagine Team USA slapping even a $500,000 bounty?
Yeah, I mean,
on a gold medal.
Why not?
Can you imagine that?
Here's a meal. Everybody will compete. Hell, I want to be a gymnast now, or I can do this or whatever.
I said, nah, you won't see me flipping around the mat. I'll tell you that. It's just gonna be a big old solid thud by the time I got in the air.
I'll flip once. That's it.
One quick final shout out before we move to our NFC North preview. Noah Lyles, Mr. Smack Talker of world championship titles that are claimed in the United States when it came to the NBA Finals.
Yeah.
Took home world's fastest man. 100-meter race, won it by 0.005 seconds. Basically, the inch of his nose
Right.
got him that gold medal there. This man is famous because he called out U.S. sports by saying it's not a world championship if it's played in the United States on a game that's played by the most international players out there. I told you how I felt about him, and I'll stick to it here. I'll call him a few choice words. I'll stick to it too. But at the end of the day, he did represent Team USA. But you're talking about a sport that is an international sport, more popular than yours is, to say the least here.
Yeah, well, I don't know how I felt about the pearls. I thought the pearls he had in his hair and some of the fingernail polish. But, let him be him. I felt like if maybe he had removed some of those pearls, he might have gotten one more millimeter ahead. Just one more. Because he needed all of it.
That was a hell of a race.
I'm just poking fun. But that was a great race. Jamaica was right there. And for most of it, I thought Jamaica had won. It wasn't until they actually showed us the photo finish like 5 minutes later that we finally got to see how he actually won that race, because it was an extremely close heat. And so kudos to him. I don't agree with his opinion on the fact that the world champion of the NBA is not the world champion. They indeed are, my friend. Have you been watching the basketball games of late? I'm afraid that there is not another team in another country that can put together the athletes that we have on our basketball team, because we are and have always been head and shoulders above the rest of the world when it comes to basketball. Sorry. There's no changing that. That'll never ever change. And I think he's just ill-informed and maybe doesn't know enough about the sport of basketball.
But the matter of the fact is with the sport of basketball, you have pro leagues internationally, right?
Yeah.
But they don't want to play there. Guess where they want to play?
Right. Is
in the NBA. Yeah. They want to come to the United States because that is the best of the best when it comes to it. So, yeah, it is a world championship in the NBA. It is a world championship in baseball. It is a world championship in the NFL. Because you know why? We're the place you want to go to make a name for yourself.
Right.
That's it.
Yep.
You have your platform every 4 years. We don't talk about you until this time around. And once these Olympics are over, nobody talks about Noah Lyles. Nobody does. All right? But we're getting ready for basketball season. And guess who we're talking about? Every single basketball player there. So you can't make that comparison here. Kudos to the gold medal, but just keep your mouth shut when it comes to the world champions that is claimed here in the United States, because it is a world championship.
Yeah. Yeah. And support your country. Stop being weird.
Yeah, man. Don't be stupid. God, we were cheering you on for 10 seconds and less. Good God.
Right, exactly.
Anyways,
man. Well,
let's get to this football preview.
All right, let's get into the fun NFC North. Are you ready? There's a couple of teams here that are worth talking about, definitely. And there's a couple that we're going to talk a little bit about, but not much. I got to be honest, man.
I'll do you one better. There's 3 teams that were worth talking about. There's one team that's just, we'll make it quick.
You're right. Let's get into it, man. But I think there's 2 teams that probably can go, that are probably going to be a little bit of a dumpster fire. But let's jump into it. We'll start off with the team that won the NFC North, and that's the Detroit Lions, who came out like a rocket ship and set the whole NFL world on fire by doing things that, Detroit don't usually do. Have things like having a winning record, making the playoffs, and playing in the NFC Championship game. That never happened. Never happened. I mean, this
not wrong.
Hadn't happened in 30 years since Barry Sanders, and early in Barry Sanders' career, by the way, that they got a chance to play in the playoffs. And here they are. They were knocking on the doorstep of being in the Super Bowl. They actually had a good 20-point lead, and they end up giving it up, unfortunately, to the Niners, who went on to lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. So let's talk about it. I mean, this team showed a lot of grit, I would say, especially when we talk about the quarterback position with your boy,
Jared Goff.
Jared Goff. Thank you. Good God. The Jared Goff, I thought this was a great comeback season. It reminds me a lot of what we saw with Kurt Warner in Arizona, where he just, was playing with the Rams. The Rams actually were a pretty darn good team when he was there. They opted to go in a different direction and gave up on the guy. He did not give up. He didn't hang his head. He continued to stay on the grind and actually played pretty darn well with some really, really good weapons in St. Brown and also the tight end. Why can't I think of his name right now? What's his name?
It's Laporta.
Laporta. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
With Laporta was also an excellent tight end for the Detroit Lions. Yeah, man. So let's see. They've ranked 3rd in offense, 5th in defense.
Yep.
Dan Campbell is doing a heck of a job over there. He's got them dudes believe in himself going on every 4th down you can imagine. don't know.
Jesus.
Didn't help him in the NFC Championship game, but that's just the way they play. And the question is, man, well, first off, what do you think about this team going into this season B? Can they recoup that same magic and have a similar run? Or are they a team that's kind of ready, or are they a team that is going to start to regress a little bit?
I think they can. I think this is a team that manages that run real good here. What Dan Campbell has eschewed, or what he set a foundation for in Detroit, is won the players over. It's won the city over. They're not looking at it so much as we're the Detroit Lions and we're just trying our best. It's they bought into a system where they're supposed to be the best when they, when you look at it, the Lions really haven't done anything. And they got a system to be built where it's like if they were doing something all this time. And so now the question is the sustainability of it there. And I think it is. The only difference is Jared Goff is not a young Jared Goff anymore. He's going to get up there in age. He's already in his 30s playing in the NFL as a quarterback here. So that's the only thing that questions it. And I think the big thing for me is does Dan Campbell change the way he coaches?
I don't think so.
On 4th down situations. Because when you look at that NFC Championship game, they had a chance to walk away with 3 points and still have a lead on the Niners. He chose to go for it. It backfired on him. The Niners went to proceed to score a touchdown, and then the rest was history after that.
Yeah, right.
So
right.
I think that's where you have to look into it, is know when you want to go for it on 4th down. I get it, but this was no flash in the pan. 2 years ago, the Lions were making a name for themselves, and then on opening night last year, they go and beat the Chiefs on ring night or on banner night. That's how they started the season, was by beating the Chiefs.
You sure did.
So Dan Campbell really just needs to maybe just, hey, when the points are there and when they're needed, you got to go get them. It's not saying that you're not trusting your defense or your offense, but hey, man, points are points, especially when it comes to a playoff game. It doesn't matter how you get them. You need to get them. So take the points, unless it's really necessary for you to go for it on 4th down, because it gave the Niners an amazing field position to win that NFC Championship game. So that's just the only thing. And then Amon-Ra St. Brown, 4-year, $120 million extension. I think that's well deserved. He is their best player for them. He's Jared Goff's number 1 target. The dude's a baller, and I really had appreciation for him in the documentary Receivers, as far as where he, what he did. I don't like him because he went to USC, and I got feelings about that. But for the most part, he is I think he's a top 10 receiver in the league right now, to be honest with you. I think he's right up there with them.
Do you see the similarities between his dad and LeVar Ball? Did you get it? I don't know if you got a chance to saw. Did you get a chance?
I got a chance to watch it, but I think just with St. Brown's dad, he's not sitting there and just
he's not on so not you're right, but he definitely kind of had the mindset of these guys are going to be athletes, and just about all of his sons are athletes. He's got 2 of them in the NFL right now, but you're right, deservingly so. He's going to be their number 1 target going into the season. I think what's going to give them the opportunity to repeat is the fact that the rest of their division is, I don't want to say hot garbage, but mediocre. We'll just put it like that. And the uncertainty in the next team we'll talk about in a minute with the Packers, the uncertainty with the Vikings, what we know will likely happen with the Bears, which I mean, the Bears. I mean, I don't know what the Bears.
The-
The Bears have been the
the-
Bears. They've been bad for a while now. I mean,
yeah,
and so with that being said, that's why I think Detroit has a great opportunity to really come out of the gates on all cylinders running, with an opportunity to get right back to where they were previously, or where they were last season. So I'm looking forward to them being right back at the top of the NFC North again. I think they get a game better and go to 11-4 this season. I don't think they fall off at all. I haven't really taken a close look at their schedule, but I think if they're going to be playing these teams twice this year, they're going to have a great chance to do what they did last season.
I think they can compete for the number one seed in the NFC. I think they're that good to do it. It's just, there are going to be some questions that need to be answered, maybe on the defensive end, to say the least, for them. But they did have the fifth best defense here. Yeah. But we all know defense can change in the blink of an eye. But when their first 4 games, they get the Rams, so that'll be an interesting one. They get the Buccaneers, the Cardinals, and then the Seahawks. I honestly think I think they could go 4-0 in these first games. I think the only hiccup they may have is on opening night against the Rams. But other than that, I think they should be able to go 4-0 in their first set of games.
Yeah, absolutely, man. Let's move on to the next team. This team actually went on quite a run towards the end of the season.
Yeah, they did.
And really made a name for themselves along the way, and really shocked a lot of folks in the playoffs by even making the playoffs. And then once they got there, actually gave the 49ers a run for their money, and that's the Green Bay Packers. So Packers finished 9-8. They lost to the 49ers, I mentioned, the divisional game. Their offense was, like I said, their run was at the end of the season. Okay, guys. Offense ranked 11th. Defense ranked 17th. They're not known to be a defensive stopper at all. But Jordan Love did show that he definitely had something that they can build on. And I think that's, if you're a Green Bay fan, that's really something to look forward to, especially after losing Aaron Rodgers. You get this young kid to step in and actually show he can be your quarterback, and they paid him as such. The kid signed a 4-year, $220 million extension after that late season run and his play in the playoffs. Now, we got to wait to see if that's warranted. I'll let you speak on this, B, but Jordan Love he's a young quarterback. There are going to be some more hiccups in the program here. I don't know if he comes in and picks up right where he left off. Maybe he does, but I have a feeling there's still going to be some ups and downs, as you often find with young quarterbacks. For instance, my Raiders are probably going to start Aiden McConnell. He looked pretty good at the end of the season. Not as good as Jordan Love, obviously, but I'm almost certain that when we get into the regular season, there are going to still be those ups and downs. So I don't know if he's that guy quite yet, and it's going to take some time to see, man. I mean, how do you feel about Jordan Love signing that contract in? Did he deserve to get paid that quickly?
That was a ballsy contract by Green Bay, because when you look at it, this was his first really full year.
Yeah.
After taking, from coming in, and he hadn't really played a whole bunch of snaps sitting behind Aaron Rodgers before then. And man, it was just an inconsistent first half of the season for him. There were signs of the brilliance, but then there were some really, really bad games that he endured. But I think the playoff win in Dallas, going down there and absolutely smacking them around, and then almost pulling one off in San Francisco, they had a tough decision to make, because they had to give him an extension. I just didn't think it was going to be a $220 million extension.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So, I think this year he has to validate that contract there, because you are really going on a limb for a guy who's had one really solid, one full season in the NFL. Is it warranted? This is the same conversation that we're having with Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy played his first full season, right? And showed well. But is he worth that $220 million and above? And if I look at the comparison between Jordan Love and Brock Purdy, it's about even. I think just Brock Purdy has more weapons. When you look at the weapons that Green Bay has, they just brought in Josh Jacobs, who I think is going to be a great addition next to A.J. Dillon. They have Christian Watson, who had a bit of a down year from his rookie campaign. And then who else is there? There's Jaden Reed. So Romeo Dobbs. So their offensive weapons are not bad, but when you stack them up to what Brock Purdy has with San Francisco, it doesn't match up. So Jordan Love's going to have to really turn these guys into some world class athletes here. Not saying that they already aren't, but the quarterback helps them get to that level there. So that $220 million contract is gonna come into play with that there.
Yeah,
But I think he's got the potential of it because man, that dude was slinging the ball. He beat Kansas City in Green Bay as well. I
yeah.
think that was big for him as a confidence wise, and just knowing that he had a chance to take down, the team with all of those weapons here, and it came down to basically the final possession for the 49ers to have to beat Green Bay. So that was it's a big leap for Green Bay to want to take Jordan Love with that contract, but I think it may work out with the way if he can continue that play.
Yeah, I mean, I think Brock Purdy is going to get paid because he's been in the Super Bowl twice. I think for
Once
Love,
technically.
well, I'm sorry, one. I'm sorry, once. Excuse me. He was in the NFC championship game prior to that and got injured.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, I don't know. I just feel like Jordan Love. I think this team still has a little bit of a ways to go before they get to the top to where they can really start making some noise. They could definitely be an outside, wild card team like we saw last year. But as far as them coming out and really setting, just separating themselves a little bit, I think it's going to be a little bit hard to do in the division where the Detroit Lions have kind of planted their flag. So we'll see how it goes.
Well, let's look at their first four games as well because that's going to really matter for them on if they're going to compete with the Detroit Lions. They get the Eagles, the Colts, who don't sleep on the Colts, man. And Anthony Richardson was hurt
Yeah.
all last year, but he kind of resurrected the Colts a little bit. So I look for them to be really good. There's the terrible Titans who are just going to be dog water, and then they get the Vikings, so they get an in division game in the first four games here. When you look at that schedule, what do you think they're how do they play out in those first four games?
But see, that's the thing is, if you remember, this team also stumbled in the beginning of the season last year. So we're just kind of banking on the fact they sort of pick up where they left off. And so I'm curious if that's what they do. I think the first three games or his first four games, I think they go 2-2. I think you end up dropping the game to the Eagles, and I think you're going to have one of those other three games where you end up losing a tight game. I'm not necessarily a believer in this team quite yet, as far as them being able to have expectations of going in and beating a team because they're better. I think they're still kind of in that mediocre 500 category, and whenever you're in that range, you can lose on any given Sunday.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say 2-2 those first four games.
I think that's about accurate there. They started 2-2 last year, and then they went on a losing streak to that there, but ended the season on a winning streak.
Yeah,
I think they lose to the Eagles. I think they lose their first two games, to be honest with you, and then they'll beat the Titans, and then they'll beat the Vikings as well. So I think they lose those first two games, but then they pick it up right after that. So 2-2 to start the season, and then you'll kind of see what your team is right after that because then you start really getting into it right after.
yeah, absolutely. And then there was one. You got the last and probably least the Minnesota Vikings, who really or no not the sorry they're not the last or least, they're the next. The Minnesota Vikings who finished ball. I mean, both these teams are kind of down. It was a 7-10 record. They had so much turmoil coming into the last season. The Vikings were a team I thought would have an opportunity to compete in the playoffs, similar to what we saw with Detroit, but instead they had injury problem after injury problem with Justin Jefferson, and then of course with their quarterback Kirk Cousins, and then they brought in Dobbs and so on and so forth. It just was kind of a throwaway season for the Vikings. Now, of course, Cousins is not coming back. The options that we're looking at quarterback are Sam Darnold and J.J. McCarthy. I'm not feeling too great about either one of those guys. Sam Darnold, we've kind of seen before, didn't quite pan out. J.J. McCarthy, we'll see. I mean, we'll see. I mean, he did. Maybe the college kid comes in and it has an immediate impact. Maybe he doesn't. I feel bad for Justin Jefferson, but they did pay the man, so you got to give him. What was it? 4 years, $120 million. But will he be catching a lot of balls? I don't know, man. He may find himself feeling a lot like Devontae Adams did with the Raiders last year, where he's wondering, where is the ball? Who's throwing me the ball? I'm open. Please give me the ball. So good luck to the Vikings on that, man. But I don't see them being any different. I think they'll be they'll probably be around the same record, 7-10, 6-11 this season as well.
Yeah, they're gonna have. This was interesting because Jefferson signed that contract not knowing who his quarterback was gonna be.
Yeah.
For a guy with all that talent, he's really gonna insure a lot of trust in a rookie quarterback in J.J. McCarthy, who I felt like spent like 9 years at the University of Michigan.
Michigan.
And then Sam Darnold, who is a journeyman at this point, right? Came over from San Francisco. They did pick up Aaron Jones at running back though. So Aaron Jones, had a really good year last year. A couple of minor hamstring injuries that set him down for a little bit, but that's a nice little weapon there. And then you got Jordan Addison on the other side of the ball with Justin Jefferson. So that's a good little lineup there. It's just, and then TJ Hawkinson is emerging himself as probably top 5 tight end in the league, behind Kittle and who am I? Taylor Swift's
Kelsey, Travis Kelsey.
Thank you very much there.
Taylor Swift. That's how you remember them? Come on, B.
I know. It's a shame now. My bad. But in any case, this is a team who, if they can keep everybody healthy, and if the quarterback play can be somewhat decent and the playmakers can do their thing, their defense isn't that bad in Minnesota.
Not at all.
I don't think it's that bad at all.
But remember the Jets last year? When you don't have a quarterback, it doesn't matter how good your defense is. The Jets had one of the best defenses in the league. But without a quarterback, it just kind of all fell to crap.
Nah, you're right. But this is a team who secretly may be able to sneak into the wild card. I think, honestly, the NFC North can maybe put all 3 of those teams into the playoffs there. I think they have a great chance to do that there.
One, we haven't even got to the NFC East, man. I don't know about that one.
But the only thing is that they have to stay healthy. That's the only thing that riddled their season last year, was when Justin Jefferson went down and then Kirk Cousins had a season-ending injury.
Yep.
That was it for them. But they also didn't win a lot of their games to begin the season. There were a lot of single possession losses.
True.
Because remember when they played the Chargers, those were 2 1-3 teams that should have been 3-0.
Right.
But they weren't, to say the least here. So since we're shadowing the first 4 games of the season, when you look at the Vikings' first 4 games, who do they have? The New York Giants, garbage. Then they get to the They get the San Francisco 49ers, not the Minnesota Vikings, the Houston Texans, and then the Green Bay Packers.
They're going 1-3, or 0-4.
I think they beat the Vikings, or I think they beat the Giants. The Giants,
that's
I don't know what is going on. Yeah, that's an easy win right there.
Have you seen the tape of? They showed Jones throwing in training camp. The ball's going all over the place. Can't find the wide receiver.
Yeah, it's terrible, man. They got a bad, and we'll be talking about the NFC East later, but this is that's a tough 4 games because the Texans are really good. Obviously, you got the Niners. There's the Packers that, I think they'll win that game at home against the Vikings. Damn. That's a tough stretch. And then they get the Jets, the Lions, and the Rams. Like, oh, my God.
Yeah, let's just go ahead and
talk about a way to start the season. Holy shnikes.
Yeah, I think they're, as I mentioned earlier, they're going to be at the bottom of the heap. This is not a playoff team. They got some talent, yes, but until they can really solidify that quarterback position, they're going to be struggling. Definitely.
Maybe I said that they were going to be a dark horse. I'm going to stick with it. I'll ride with it. So I'm still going to hang on to that. But after reading that sketch, oh my little shnikes.
If it makes you feel any better, I picked the Vikings to go to the Super Bowl last year. If it makes you feel any better, so
But
there you
okay, I feel a little better.
go. All right, and last and least, the Chicago Bears, who have been meandering around in a big pile of steam and poo for about 10 plus years now. And they were 7-10, missed the playoffs. Obviously, I look for them to be around the same. Offensive rank last year was 20th. Ugh. Defensive rank was 12th. They got Caleb Williams though. You know what I mean? They let go of Justin Fields and replaced him with a less athletic quarterback who was accurate up until last year, where he decided to be the most inaccurate quarterback I've seen. Caleb Williams had a horrible.
Still the number one draft pick. How does that make sense?
I don't know, man, but he had a horrible season last year with USC, and to see the fact, I'm glad to see he got drafted. Curious to see how he plays. I don't see a lot going on here. I see a rookie quarterback going into a situation with an organization that has struggled to keep any of its rookie quarterbacks upright and healthy. Justin Fields was there. Trubisky was there. There are some other rookie quarterbacks. They drafted a ton of quarterbacks. None of them have been able to remain. I'm not putting this on Caleb Williams. I'm putting this on the franchise. The Chicago Bears are not going to create a contending quarterback. They haven't been able to do it for some time now, and I don't see it happening this time either. It's going to be a struggle for this team this season. They will finish at the bottom of the NFC North, in my opinion. And no. Just no. It's flat out. It's not happening.
This is a rebuilding time for them. Their defense is only going to be able to carry them so much. They still have Montez Sweat, who I'm still trying to figure out how they pulled that one off from Washington. Because when Washington was having a fire sale, Montez Sweat could have went to a contender, and he goes to Chicago, and he's still in Chicago here. So that's a little mind blowing there.
Got paid. We're good. Yeah.
Offensively, they brought in Keenan Allen. You have DJ Moore, who who still I think is a pretty solid wide receiver.
Yeah.
Who else? They brought in DeAndre Swift, the running back from I think he was with the Eagles at the time. Yeah. So I mean, realistically, this is just I think they're 2 years removed from even being any sort of competitive nature.
And what makes it worse is if you look at the timeline of what the Chicago Bears should be doing, it doesn't line up with the people that you just mentioned, right? I mean, we're talking. You bring a lot of win now players to a team that's just not prepared to win now, and I just don't see how that's going to work out or work in the favor of Caleb Williams, who is going to go into a situation where maybe more is going to be expected of him with an organization that hasn't been able to do anything with the talent that they've had for quite some time. So to me, this is just a train wreck. And a lot of the guys you see there, much like, remember Khalil Mack, who was also traded to the Chicago Bears from the Raiders back in the day. He's going to get traded. So you're just going to get traded. Montez Sweat, you're just going to get traded somewhere else. That's all that's going to happen.
And then their first 4 games of the season, it's the Titans, the Texans, the Colts, and the Rams. That's a 2-2 start for them.
I don't think they're good enough to beat those teams. I think they go 1-3. Yeah,
I almost sell the Rams that short, but I think they go 1-3 here. They're only going to win that first game against the Tennessee Titans, and then they just have that. They get a little bit of a break with the Panthers right after that, but then it gets fairly a little difficult after that. So I think 1-3 to start their season.
And you can't turn your nose up on the Panthers either, because they've got young talent on their team. So I think they're in the same boat. You know what I mean? And that's what I mean about Chicago. Like, this is a rebuilding thing where you're trying to get a brand new quarterback up and running. It's not going to be pretty. It never is. There are very few quarterbacks that come into the league and just set it on fire right away. It takes time. And so this season is going to be a season where they should be looking to get Caleb Williams into a position where he can compete and try to win some games along the way.
Absolutely here. So I'm saying last place.
Yeah, same here.
Who's winning the division?
Oh, easy. Detroit.
We're settling on Detroit winning this NFC North.
That's right.
Before we go, some good news out of the baseball world, especially with my San Francisco Giants.
What y'all do?
Blake Snell, threw the 18th no-hitter
Oh, okay.
in Giants baseball history.
All right, all right.
For all my non-baseball people out there, this is what we call the best of the best. No hits in that game. Was absolutely dealing. It's not something that happens all the time.
Does not.
In baseball. It's a very challenging sport to try to throw a no-hitter. The fact that it was his first time pitching in the 9th inning, it says a lot. Blake Snell's one of those dominant pitchers, and he threw a no-hitter. So I just want to congratulate Blake Snell here. It's a good moment to see, especially when it's with your team, for something like that to happen. I'm hoping they get this shit turned around quickly, because I want to see some playoff baseball here in San Francisco. But for just to put that out there, no hitters are not something that's part of the game every single day. That's part of perfection. Not allowing any hits in baseball, especially when the league is now gearing towards more of an offensive side of baseball here to absolutely shut it down. Yeah, pretty much. So shout out to Blake Snell and the whole Giants organization for being able to celebrate that.
All right, awesome. And then we got a shout out from Mama Lay. Kudos to the Reds Reds fans for their appreciation to Snell's no hitter. So
yeah, I find it weird that the home team is going to root for a guy that no hits their team.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. I guess and maybe that's what's cool.
It's the sport. It's the sportsmanship. I guess you could look at it like that.
Yeah.
But in all honesty, like, dude, you just no hit my team. Like, I just spent money to watch my team go over in this game. Are you kidding me?
I'm out of $150, and I didn't even get to see one hit. One hit by my team. So yeah, I agree with you. It's kind of like it's a slap in the face twice. So they
got slapped more than they got hits.
At that point, I'm just getting up and going home. I'm not even gonna. Yeah. I'm done here. Oh
no, I'm sticking around to watch it, but I'm not giving this guy no standing ovation and a hand clap. Like, dude, you just no hit my team.
Yeah.
Are you serious? Nah, screw you.
Maybe we're just bitter. I don't know.
Nah.
Well, folks. I think that's all we got. We're going to be back with another division in the NFL, and probably almost final coverage of the Olympics, because by then the Olympics will be done after next week, and we'll get a chance to really deep dive into the U.S. Men's basketball team and much, much more. If you guys appreciate go ahead.
I can't wait for breakdancing in the Olympics.
Oh, man. It is in there, isn't it? In there? I thought it was.
I'm being a smart ass about it.
It's coming. It's coming. I mean,
it is. It's happening this week, man.
You could buy some Olympic cardboard to put down and start doing some flips. I don't know, whatever, man.
Man, they're breakdancing on rock hard cement. Yeah, I ain't doing no flips. I'll break my back.
I mean, we might as well just bust out Street Fighter and just we can add that to the list. But anyway, so we appreciate y'all joining us on this Sunday evening. Go ahead and hit us with a subscribe. We appreciate it. Hit a like on the video. Hit the notifications button. We appreciate everybody. 49er, UCLA, Wolverine, better known as the Wu-Tang Man. Wu-Tang, thank you for joining us. Mama Lay, thanks for getting in the chat. We appreciate y'all, and we will be back next Sunday at 6:30 Pacific time. Do not miss us. Slap that notification buttons if you are already a subscriber. We appreciate it, and y'all have a wonderful evening. Peace.